I grew up in Philadelphia, on the east coast of the States, in a predominantly black neighborhood uh, called Germantown that was really at the height of the Black Power movement, a kind of reactionary period to earlier negative ideas about blackness and about Africa, and really the period where black Americans were really embracing that. And Philadelphia is a majority black city as well. And of course, when I was a kid, I had light brown hair and skin as pale as it is now, and features that were even less African than they are now. So I really stood out, and I had a black mother and a white father. My parents were divorced, but they both lived in the neighborhood, and my mother raised me. So I grew up really looking different from most of the people around me, and despite the way I looked, I also still grew up with a very kind of strong idea about myself ethnically as being African American, which I was. Um, and so I wore dashiki and, culturally had an African American experience, a mixed African American experience, a multiracial experience, but a type of African American experience. So there was always conflict and tension in that of being part of a community that's largely identified by physical appearance and not really looking like I fit the profile for that physical appearance. So it was a big issue for me when I was a kid, that contradiction. And as an adult, it was less and less more important as all the other, you know, conflicts of adulthood took precedence over that. But it's been something that was just in the back of my head. And, for me, it's something that I've resolved and something I've learned to negotiate the contradictions of it. But for other people, it isn't. So oftentimes I meet people who are surprised that I am by American standards black, or that that ethnically I'm African American. I think of myself as mixed now, which is more of a recent occurrence, but I do consider myself African American. So when I meet people, it becomes an issue sometimes. It's almost like if you have a pen that's bleeding into your shirt, that might have happened 3 years ago, and so it's not news to you. But every time you meet somebody, they're like, "Hey, you've got a pen exploded in your shirt." So so for that reason, it's kind of something that's been fresh in my mind, and at this point, something I thought would just be kind of interesting and fun to explore on the page.